Hello, welcome back to the Mr. Skids channel after a bit of a hiatus. Today I've got a couple of hammocks from Decathlon. We're going to take a look at them. Here are the two hammocks. This is old faithful for me. It's a Decathlon Basic hammock. I've been using that for about a year. So the other day, I thought I like it so much, I thought I'd upgrade. And I bought the Comfort hammock. Last year when I bought both of these, I deliberated over buying this one, but I just went for this because it's cheaper. Couldn't really tell what the difference was other than size, and I was worried that this one, I wouldn't find a space big enough to pitch it. Anyway, let's get them out and I'll sort of show you the difference. Right, we start off with this basic one. You see, as I open it, it's sort of self-contained, so this little pouch is contained within the hammock. We get two little bits of rope with it, and there's our hammock. This one comparatively is a bit of a beast. Open that up. So I've got two like slings for a tree with a nice, I can't remember what this knot's called, this type of rope's called, but basically set up really nicely out the box to go hammocking. And I got two of those. Now I take the actual hammock out of its bag, so that's separate. We got a hammock, and that has got these little carabiners on it, which make it a lot easier to attach. There's not much of a difference in size of them. Let me pick up the camera and I'll show you from the top. So yeah, the yellowy coloured one is the more expensive, larger Comfort hammock. And then we've got this smaller hammock next to it. And it's probably only got about, what, like 2 feet in it in total size. I did think when I was sitting in the big one, it didn't seem like it felt like much of a difference. So the big difference for me with these is that when I bought the basic one originally, I had to go out and get more bits to go with it because these little bits of rope here just aren't really enough to go around the tree and tie onto the hammock, unless your trees are tiny little sticks and they're perfectly 3 meters away from each other or something. Let me show you what I've bought. So over here in my bag, I've got all the stuff that I bought to sort of make that little hammock work nicer. So I went and bought like a long bit of, I think this is paracord, like climbing rope. So I bought a long length of this, which probably cost me about a tenner, but you can see the size of it. Well, it's a bit longer than those, if that helps. I got like a climbing sling to wrap around the tree, because apparently it damages the tree to just tie ropes around them. And then I made another sling for a hammock out of a karate belt, which has done really well. Top notch from that, even if it looks a bit booky. And I went out and bought two heavy duty carabiners. I use these for other things, so I was quite just glad to have these because they're useful for attaching speakers and things. But yeah, and these are overkill. These are proper climbing rope carabiners, but it means you can fit them around things like this sling quite easily. So it doesn't look quite as compact now when you've got the two extra slings, the extra rope, those two ropes, and the hammock, compared to the quite concise hammock, slings, and ropes that are all included with that. The annoying thing is that I went for the cheaper one because it was cheaper. It cost about 20 quid instead of the more expensive one at 30. And I spent about 20 quid buying the extra bits to get it to attach to a tree nicely. So maybe a false economy there, unless you're attaching it in like a garden or to a fence or something. I'll show you, I'll explain. To show the difference between the two, I think the easiest thing for me to do will be to set up the big new one first. It's so much easier, and then show why the old one's a bit more complicated. Thing goes round, comes off the tree, lovely, and it stays up there nicely too. Now I got this one. Lovely, that's two up, they fit nicely around the tree. And then I got carabiners on both ends, so there's no need for knots at all. That's one end here. Walk over here, make sure it's not tangled. Other end to go up here. I'm not sure if that's too high. Oh, it's lovely. Ta-da! I don't know how long that took, so I'll put a little time up here to say, but my recording wasn't going on for longer than 2 minutes, and that was me chatting and sitting in it for a bit. So, really quick setup. So now I've got the smaller one, and I'm going to try and set it up with just its original 2 ropes. I'm going to show why that's a problem. First of all, I'm going to need a loop, so I'm just going to tie a figure-of-8 loop around here, so that I've got something to, because I don't have these nice straps to use, so already I'm tying knots to get this started. There we go. And then just like I was with the strap, I'm going to sort of wrap it all the way around the tree. And I've got a little bit of rope there, which I've also got to tie onto the thing, onto the hammock. Now I've got my other bit of rope. I'll do another figure-of-8 in the end. This might actually work. Now I'm probably going to do a round turn, 2 half hitch. I've just got to tighten it up now because it's hard to get it right the first time. I got lucky with that other one, but the other one's a lot easier to adjust. I've got to sort of undo my knot and tie it up again. But I see how that is. It's a bit lower off the ground than the other one, so I can feel how much smaller that is now. So that's been annoyingly easy actually. So yeah, that was a really good demonstration of how it does work. But I've had so many situations where the trees have been like a meter further apart, or I mean the real killer is when the trees are like thicker, when they've got a higher, so a larger diameter tree, it's going to take way more rope to wrap around, and it can be a surprise. So some trees I can't even get the whole rope around. Normally I like to double up the rope and tie it back on itself, so you've got the strength of 2 times the rope. But with this I can only use 1 because I just don't have enough rope. So I could fix that using my climbing rope, using my slings. I'm not going to bother now. But that's why I bought that climbing rope and those slings, because typically I've actually got to use a longer bit of rope somewhere, or I've got to use two of these little black ropes together to tie around a tree. And the slings are better for the trees. We don't want to hurt trees, do we? They're good. So the more expensive Comfort option comes with these nice like webbed slings to go with it, and they just make your life so much easier as well. I can't remember what this knot's called, but it's got a name. Someone tell me if you know. These ones just out of the box come with a bit of rope like that, which apparently, I mean, it's not really going to do any damage to trees, but apparently it's just not good for them. So you should really use a sling. So while we haven't needed any of this time, it is useful, and it is needed sometimes, and these guys are better for the trees, specifically that one. That one's really made for climbing, but does the job. So here's the other thing that sort of got me when I was buying these. This one here says 6 meters max. On the other hand, if we take a look at this bag when you buy it at the shops, it would say on it 3 meters max. So where does that come from? I mean, yeah, look, there's your 3 meters max there, right? And then this thing, you can see it just, you know, it's fitting, that's what, 4.5 meters there, I reckon, maybe 5. And that's maybe going over 3 or 4 meters. So I can work out why they sort of prescribe that, but it seems like it's just that the fittings they give you won't allow it to stretch over more than 3 meters for the small one, which is why I had to go and buy other pieces for it. But then if you've got a small gap with 2 trees, like if I had that gap to work with, I could totally sling that hammock across the same gap, just have less tension to it. So the Comfort hammock is my choice on scales of both comfort, price, value for money. I guess if it wins both of those, it wins value for money. Yeah, it's a bit bigger. Feels way bigger when you're in it. I wouldn't have had to spend an extra like 10, 15 quid on extra kit, even though I probably would have bought some carabiners anyway, because I like buying carabiners. And I wouldn't have had to make my own strap on a sewing machine or hunt around camping shops for or outdoor shops for like climbing equipment. So yeah, if you're at Decathlon right now and you're weighing up whether to buy the Basic hammock or the Comfort hammock right above it, then my advice is the Comfort hammock all day. For the extra £10, you get far more than £10 worth of hammock. And you won't have to go and buy a load of other crap to get it to fit around a tree. So other than the size though, the builds are fundamentally the same. It's got this nice ripstop material here. It feels so thin, I can't believe it hasn't ripped, but I've been using that one for a year and it's been absolutely fine, so I'm sure it'll be fine. They've both got like a little pocket on the outside, but that one's is only the little flap that it's stored in. This one has got a really nice little pouch that actually is quite suitable for storing a phone or a snack or a book in or something. That just hangs off the side. There is something similar on that one, but it's not as nice again. So yeah, just buy this hammock. I don't know why they even bother with the basic hammock. Unless you've got a really small space to sling it in. Yeah, this is the way to go. This video has taken way longer to film because everyone's coming over and chatting about hammocks. So that's no problem by me. It's nice to see. Yeah, it's funny. Everyone, people aren't not talkative in Tunbridge Wells, but yeah, you sling a hammock up and everyone's got their own hammock stories. It's quite sweet. I want to start a little hammocking club. Everyone can just come and get a hammock and chill. Maybe ride some bikes. Yeah, that'd be cool. I'm going to take these down in a sec and I'll show how they pack up back into their bag, because that's not always as easy as they come out of them. But first, I'm going to do some meditation in this hammock because it seems like a perfect morning to do so. Hopefully you saw from that how much quicker it is to take apart the new one, the bigger one. Let's put them into bags. And do the little one first. I think there's always a bit more to think about with this one because the bag's part of it, so you gotta sort of remember that is. I'm gonna take my headphones off. Right, so yeah, I've got this bag in the middle, right? And I always cock this up, but I'm sure it'll be fine. So I sort of like to put one over there. We can start sort of rolling it back in to that shape. Right, so I got a little shape that I'll roll up into that now. And now, so I don't have to carry all these strings with me. Put that in there. Same with this one. Quite tidy of a, oh, that's going to annoy me. There we go. Then this one's not meant to go with it, but one more rope won't hurt. And I'd normally put this one in as well, but I'm going to show you a little trick that I like to do with it at festivals and things like that. Right, so now I should just be able to sort of roll this up and then it's sort of going to scrunch in, but that'll be fine. Probably don't even need to roll it, I think I'll fold it. And then I think really I sort of got that flap the wrong way around, which I knew I would. So I just flip it on top and then you sort of just, I don't know how to explain this. You sort of turn it inside out on itself. I'm normally pretty good at this sort of thing, but I always seem to end up cocking this up. I think I'm probably doing that off camera, aren't I? But that's not too bad actually. Tuck the last of those strings in, and ta-da! So my little trick that I've got, if you do have some sort of carabiner and you want to like travel with this easily without a bag. So I was doing this at a festival last year and we had this hammock and it was lovely, but I didn't want to just carry it in my arms. So I can put that through one of these loops and then we'll put a carabiner on. I could tie a knot, I guess. And you got a nice little bag. Isn't that cute? So that's quite a nice little package like that. Right, next up, the Comfort model. Now, I reckon this one's easier because it comes with a separate bag, so I just need to get this into an appropriate sort of shape and size, and then we're laughing. Just fold that in half once. It's all sort of bunched up anyway because of the way it's like tied around its ends, so it's never going to be perfect. It's not going to be like a bed sheet or something. Right, I'm not used to folding this one up either, the other one I'm way better at. And I put those in there like so, and I'm just going to sort of roll it so it sort of resembles the size of this, and it's quite compressible, so it should be absolutely fine. And I try not to get too much dirt in it, but I use this. This will come out again in a week or so, if not sooner, so I'm not too worried about it. It's not going into storage. And then we'll shove it in. And I maybe should have folded it a little bit more because this is a bit tough to go in, but it's not that fussy. And it's like a bit of a bulge. Now this one does have the 2 hooks as well, and it's got carabiners and straps inside, so if you wanted to use those then you could make a nice little bag as well. So in conclusion, this one's fine, it's a bit littler. This 3 meters thing, I think it only refers to the length of the string or the rope, so if you buy some more rope, it'll go 6 meters if you want it to. This is the way to go. It's really sick. You can fit 2 people in it apparently. The hammocks are about the same length. This one's maybe like a foot or 2 longer when it's all stretched out. It's just got much more rope with it, that's why it stretches 6 meters. It doesn't have to stretch 6 meters. I'm sure you could pitch it over a much smaller length than that. So yeah, this one's the way to go. I wish I'd bought it to begin with. I'm gonna get my bags packed up. Bit of a sprawling mess at the moment. And I'm gonna have a little bit of a mountain bike ride in the woods before work. Thanks for watching.